With me now from there, House Minority Whip Steve Scalise, who joins me live. Sir, how you doing? Good morning to you. What are you guys talking about? What's the big theme, sir?
Bill, great to be with you. Good morning. And the president really gave an invigorating speech yesterday. Talked a lot about the economy, how great the economy is doing, the things that we've worked together with this president on to get the hottest economy in the world now that the United States has, but also the other bigger things that we need to do. And unfortunately, with Nancy Pelosi as Speaker, we're not able to achieve those things because she's only focused, it seems like, on impeachment and harassment of the president as opposed to addressing the real problems of this country.
Okay, speaking of problems, there's an issue of guns that's getting a lot of attention now. Is there consensus now on what the president will support and what Republicans could do in Congress?
Well, I know the president's been meeting with a lot of members of Congress, Republican and Democrat, continuing to try to focus on the problem of gun violence. And look, let's keep in mind, as we're having these conversations, what President Trump has already done. President Trump is the one who, after Barack Obama's administration legalized bump stocks, which were used in the Las Vegas shooting, President Trump banned those bump stocks. And so today they're not legal. President Trump signed into law the Fix NICS bill. There's a lot of talk, Bill, about the background check system. The biggest problems we found are the people that aren't getting fed in, the data that's not getting fed in to the background check system, where people who had criminal backgrounds were able to buy guns when they shouldn't have been. And this was a real problem in some of these mass shootings like Sutherland Springs, like Charleston, even in the Parkland case. The shooter shouldn't have been able to buy a gun based on his past, but yet the data wasn't fed into the background check system. Let's make it work so that criminals aren't the ones that are getting guns, but that law-abiding citizens still have the right to exercise their Second Amendment rights to defend themselves.
I don't know if I heard a clear answer on what he will do, but here was his comment from last night on that.
Democrats want to confiscate guns from law-abiding Americans, so they're totally defenseless when somebody walks into their house with a gun. How crazy is this? Republicans will forever uphold the fundamental right to keep and bear arms.
Just to put a fine point on this, it's gone back and forth all week. Did he tell you what he would support, sir, yes or no?
Well, he hasn't laid out any specific details because he is meeting with a lot of people, but he wants to be focused on solving the problems, not on the Democrats' agenda of just taking people's guns, or in the case of Nancy Pelosi's bill that she keeps saying should be passed, a bill that says if you loan your gun to a friend, in most cases, you'd go to jail for up to a year for just doing something like that. That's not where most Americans are. They want to make sure criminals don't get guns. And if a background check system is out there, which it is, and it doesn't have the right data so criminals are able to pass a background check, that's the problem. Let's focus on that problem. A lot of people that fill out false information on those forms. Those are the areas that can continue to be looked at, but don't take guns away from law-abiding citizens. I think it's been clear from a lot of the Democrat agenda that that's where they're focused. They're not focused on the things that would have stopped some of these shootings because they didn't work with us on some of those bills.
Two more topics here. You mentioned Nancy Pelosi from yesterday on the I word that you bring up. She said this on Capitol Hill.
I have said what I'm going to say on the subject. That's it. I'm not answering any more questions on this subject. Why is it that you're hung up on a word over here when lives are at stake over there?
Sir, where does this issue go, if anywhere, for Democrats?
Well, the chairman of her committee, who she helped to put into that position, said that he wants to impeach the president and, in fact, indicated he would like to file articles of impeachment by the end of this year when there's absolutely nothing to impeach President Trump on. This is irresponsible. It's reckless. She ought to confront it and say we're not going to move towards that. The Mueller report showed there was no collusion, showed there was no any kind of obstruction of justice. They need to move on. This is the committee, by the way, Bill, that has jurisdiction over the border crisis. And instead of solving the crisis at our border, they're just infatuated with these witch hunts and impeaching the president, even though, by their own admission, there is nothing yet to impeach him on. They still want to move it forward. And Nancy Pelosi won't shut that door, which means she condones this radical, reckless effort. They need to focus on their job, solving these big problems of the country. Stop harassing the president every single day just because they don't agree with the 2016 election.
Corey Lewandowski's before that committee on Tuesday afternoon of next week. We'll see what happens there. Final question on politics and the election. Ted Cruz said this week, getting a lot of attention. He said if we lose Texas, it's game over. I don't believe Texas will turn blue, but central to that is we're going to have to work to communicate and turn people out. He also said that the Democratic interest in the midterm election shot shot up 100%. How concerned are you then, sir, in places like Texas or elsewhere?
Well, and keep in mind, Ted Cruz won re-election last year in a real contested race. John Cornyn's going to be on the ballot next year, and so is Donald Trump. And what we've seen in North Carolina just a few days ago was a great indication. When President Trump gets directly involved, we saw about a 25% increase in a lot of those precincts in North Carolina just Tuesday night over where we were last year. President Trump will be on the ballot next year. That's going to be a big boost to a lot of those districts we lost. 31 of the districts that we lost last year are districts that Donald Trump won in 2016. Him being on the ballot, leading our ticket, is going to be the key to us getting the House back, and I'm very confident that President Trump gets reelected based on what he's done.
Well, his message for you last night was the best is yet to come. Plenty of time to talk about this in the very near future. Sir, thank you. The retreat continues. Steve Scalise there live in Baltimore. Thank you for coming on today, sir.
We've got a great economy. Let's keep it going. Great being with you.
Okay.